That feels really good. And guess what? I can't do that if I'm broke. I worked hard to achieve wealth so that I can actually make other people's lives better. And so when I'm able to wire the money to build an entire school in Ethiopia or something like that, that feels really good. That's what I care about.
How does it feel to be well, I don't even know. Are you a billionaire? And that's totally you don't have to answer this question if you don't want, but how does it feel? A lot of people label you as a billionaire.
Yeah, no, I never really answer. I don't like people that talk about personal wealth and brag about it. So I don't usually answer that. But money in general, tell you, here's why it matters to me. It matters because I discovered that there are a lot of problems in the world that actually take money to solve them. And because I have it, I can actually solve problems that I'd be helpless to before. And the example, which Anthony, you probably heard me talk about, was when I was watching the news about a shelter for abused women that was being closed and all the women were being kicked to the streets because they ran out of money. And I was watching it on the news and I was like, man, they should help those women. And I had a life-changing realization then. My realization was there is no they. That's the biggest thing written on the board behind me. There is no they. They don't help those women, you do. And I was sitting there and I was thinking, oh my God, I have all this money. And again, I'm not a money-oriented person, but I was like, I'll just do it. I can actually afford to pay for this home for abused women. And I can afford to pay for them to get childcare and all those things. I wouldn't, if I hadn't built businesses and achieved wealth, I couldn't help people. So the answer to your question is, how does it feel? Everybody has, for people that have never had money, the first time you get money, you go, for me, it was a short spending spree. Because all of a sudden you're rich and you have millions of dollars and you can buy anything you want. And 10 minutes later, you don't want it anymore. It turns out that knowing you could have the stuff is just as good as having most stuff. I ran out of stuff I wanted to buy because I don't really care about stuff. I just found that out when I said, oh, now I can buy anything I want. And then I turned out I didn't really actually want anything. I just wanted to be able to buy it if I wanted. But helping people, being able to go pay for houses for abused women and being able to, to do all kinds of, we provided homes for lots of people. Right now I build orphanages and schools in Africa and other places. That is, to answer your question, that feels really good. And guess what? I can't do that if I'm broke. I worked hard to achieve wealth so that I can actually make other people's lives better. And so when I'm able to wire the money to build an entire school in Ethiopia or something like that, that feels really good. That's what I care about.
That's a brilliant point. In my last book, The Survival of Riches, I created a concept called the prosperity tipping point. So basically, at a certain point, I view finance different than most people. I see it as an extension of survival, and finance comes after this process. I call it a survival prosperity sequence. Survival, then you have finance, and then all these other sciences of wealth follow after that, like economics, right? So there's a concept called prosperity tipping point when you have just enough amount of money, and everything else after that that's it. You don't need it anymore.
Totally get that. Survive, I really love that. Yep.
Yeah. So but basically from that point, my viewpoint is from that point on, that tipping point, it's all like marked for charity or giving, because you don't need it anymore. This is what you need to be comfortable, a comfortable existence and survive. Everything else is excessive to that, and you can give it to other people, a different cause. So what's your thoughts on that particular point right there? Like how, and it depends on every person. Like you will have a different prosperity.
I think you're dead on. Every person just needs to sit and figure out what enough is, so they know when they get to the tipping point.
Right.
But I love the way you explain that, and I completely agree.